All right, guys, if the brand MFK, Maison Francis Kurkdjian, didn't have a fragrance called Baccarat Rouge 540, which fragrances are worth noting from the house that you should look into? Let's say, for example, you're brand new. Everybody mentions to you, go check out Baccarat Rouge 540. I think it's been done, overdone, and been duped and copied and cloned and inspired from. But I would say Baccarat Rouge 540 is the most popular from the house. But if you are looking outside of that fragrance, these are the 10 fragrances I would recommend from the house of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. So I discovered the house around 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. And there was no Baccarat Rouge at that time. It took about 5-6 years for that to launch. So I was in a world of MFK fragrances with OUD Silk Mood, with Absolue Pour le Soir, Aqua Universalis Forte. Those are all here today in this video, but I'm leaving out Baccarat Rouge 540 and the Extrait because, we've spoken a lot about it. And this is what I would recommend from the house. If you have a favorite fragrance from the house outside of Baccarat Rouge 540, let me know what it is. Add a comment below. If you can give me a top 5 or a top 10 list of the fragrances outside of BR 540, let us know. Add a comment below. And let's get started with the list. Number 10, I'm going with APOM, APOM. A part of me, a piece of me. That is the relaunch of fragrance that came out about 2-3 years ago. This was a fragrance in the catalog already by the time I started, with fragrances, but they had them separated as a men's and a woman's. Now they've kind of combined the two and they've created one for both sexes. So it's a unisex offering. Although I feel like a lot of guys would say this is a bit feminine leaning, but I feel like it's musky in the base, which is kind of cool and sexy. Up top, it's a bit tropical floral, like ylang ylang is prominent here. There might be some jasmine and some orange blossom, neroli type notes all swimming together into a really gorgeous, fresh floral offering. So this, I think, Francis perfected for Jean-Paul Gaultier. The Gaultier 2 I feel like it's similar DNA. I think he also did it a little bit with Fleur de Mal. It's also orange blossom focused. And I feel like this is kind of his style, fresh floral ingredients and musky in the base as well, which I'm glad they brought back. It's interesting also that MFK is bringing a lot of their discontinued fragrances back. So that's kind of a good thing. But let's see what happens going forward. Is there not going to be any new releases? I'm hoping there are something really super exciting, but what's left for the guy to do, especially since he's also creating fragrances for Dior. He is the in-house perfumer creative director at Dior for fragrances. So he's got two houses and he's not doing anything outside of MFK and Dior anymore. But before he got the gig at Dior, he was doing a lot of fragrances for Burberry and things like that. But I'm glad APOM is back. I enjoy this fragrance. It's fresh and floral, and it's definitely very refined, kind of a take on these kind of notes together with the musky notes in the base, and it smells fantastic. So we're starting off with 10, APOM. And again, it used to be a men's version and a women's version. Now there's only a unisex version. So let's go to number 9. It's Aqua Vitae Forte. I think I'm gonna need to get another bottle. Look how low I am with my fragrance there. This was actually one of my favorite offerings from the house. It was the opposite of Aqua Universalis Forte, which I really enjoy. This to me went into more of a solar direction, which I think also APOM or APOM is also similar to that. But this is very tropical, creamy, woody, and very solar, as I said. One of the opposites of Aqua Universalis Forte, where they had the original in the more cologne style version, and then they have the more deeper version in the Fortes. And I prefer the Fortes over the originals. And then there's also the cologne Fortes, which are, I think, not worth it personally. I think they're just too something about them that I didn't care for. But the Aqua Universalis Forte is awesome. I think it has ylang ylang once again, and it has these kind of creamy vanillic and ambery notes in the base. So it's a more prominent take on the original Aqua Vitae and taking it into more deeper territory with intensifying the ingredients and the notes, and less fresh, more deeper. But super awesome. I remember this being a great release. I was wearing it a lot for a while. I bought it after I bought Aqua Universalis Forte, and still appreciated to this day. And it has the signature musky base that MFK is known for, that's also in APOM. That is Aqua Vitae Forte. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. Add a comment below. That's at number 9. At number 8, we're going with OUD. I'm featuring both OUDs. This is the OUD as in just OUD. There's no like OUD Satin Mood, OUD Satin Mood, or OUD Silk Mood. Those are coming up. And of course, Velvet OUD and Cashmere OUD were discontinued. I have both bottles. They just brought back Velvet Mood, and I didn't care for the redo of that fragrance. I'm hoping they bring back Cashmere. Between the Velvet and Cashmere, I preferred the Cashmere. I really love it. And let's see if they're going to bring that back as well, because they're bringing back everything that the brand has discontinued. But the redo of Velvet Mood is not as good. I smelled it at Harrods when it was exclusive there. I want to get my nose on it again. But we're talking about the OUD here. The OUD is a really solid, simple MFK style OUD that's not highlighting certain ingredients to enhance the OUD. This is just the OUD served on a platter and very luxurious. So the extrait to me is also super creamy. It has elements of the Cashmere Mood, OUD Cashmere Mood, but there's definitely very like musty kind of an OUD experience, very humid, hot, and around it there's aromatics and spices, and it's quite intensified. I'm not 100%. I think there's also a lot of cypriol here, which I'm picking up, which I feel like they use quite a bit to create that OUD accord. Is this real OUD? To me, it doesn't smell like the real thing, but maybe it has touches of it, minor touches of the real OUD, and then the rest of it is an accord, because I am picking up quite a bit of like papyrus cypriol note in here, which is, once you learn the way that ingredient smells, you'll kind of like really pick it out in fragrances, and they use it quite a bit to create an OUD accord. So I feel like the extract is super luxurious and amplifying the main star note in this, and taking it into a very luxurious direction. But it's a lot of woods and spices, ambery notes in the base, and of course I think there's a lot of papyrus cypriol kind of notes in here. So that's the extrait version, which I'm putting here at number 8. But since I have the original OUD as well, let's talk a little bit about the original OUD. This is also at number 8, but I'm ranking number 8 as the extract, but I'm just also talking about the original. The original is fresher. It also doesn't have that super creamy effect that the extract does. And I feel like since it has been intensified and made deeper, the original has a lot more woods effect happening and a fresher take on woods. It just doesn't have that deep effect that the extract has, which I prefer more than the original. So if you're looking for something not so intense, the original is great, but as a smell, I much prefer the extract, because it reminds me a little bit more of Cashmere OUD, or OUD Cashmere Mood, a lot more as an extract than the original OUD. So I just want to highlight it for you guys. What's the difference? Here it is. It's a lot fresher, not as deep, and not as luxurious as the extract OUD, which I am putting here at number 8. So if you are new to fragrances, new to MFK, and all you've heard about is Baccarat Rouge 540, these are the fragrances for you to check out. Let's move on to number 7, which is Aqua Universalis Forte. One time I was obsessed with this fragrance. I was wearing it quite a bit. I've posted on Instagram quite a bit about it, and I've featured it in videos. I started posting on Instagram in 2014, and I already had this fragrance at that time. So I was a big fan of it. It's very musky. It has a very laundry, clean, fresh effect, and I think it's coming from the musk. There's some light spices, there's a creamy effect, but it's also lots of lemons, so there's a very lemony experience here. And the lemon in this is super awesome, and lemon can be a bit challenging, I think, in fragrances. Not challenging as in you can't wear it. Sometimes it goes into the cleaning solution direction, which I think can be a bit unpleasant. Here, really super intense take on a freshie and lots of musky. Remember I said it's quite laundry-like. It smells like laundered linens with a lemony kind of a detergent. And of course, very fluffy, gentle to the touch, soft to the touch, kind of an experience with lemons. So it's a great scent. I wore so much of this one. I went straight to the Forte after I tried both the original Aqua Universalis and Aqua Universalis Forte. and settled to this one because it was deeper and it was longer lasting for a freshie. Great scent though, really, really awesome. Really love the lemony effect here. Aqua Universalis Forte. Let me know if you're a fan of that one. It's super good. And at one time, this would have been lower than Aqua Universalis Forte. Now it's higher. This is Petit Matin. So when Petit Matin came out, I remember I did a video after buying, like it was exclusive to Neiman's. I ordered my bottles from, I think, the Dallas Neiman Marcus store. There was a connection. And I quickly did my video because I bought both. Petit Matin and Grand Soir came out together. And I believe what had happened was Aqua Universal, I'm sorry, no, what am I saying? Absolue pour le Soir and Absolue pour le Matin kind of became Grand Soir and Petit Matin. So that's what happened with them. But I remember this was always a great scent, but I always preferred the Aqua Universalis Forte. Up until recently, I started really enjoying this more than Aqua Universalis Forte. This is a lot juicier, where Aqua Universalis Forte is drier. And again, as I said, it's a lot more laundry musky. This is, to me, juicy, citrusy, and super refreshing and invigorating. And of course, I think it has musky touches in here as well, because Francis Kurkdjian always adds those in his creations. But to me, Petit Matin is super awesome. If you like citruses to be juicier, I would go with Petit Matin more than Aqua Universalis Forte. And it's just very hydrating, I guess that's the word to use, when you're really thirsty in the heat, and you spritz this stuff on and it really quenches your thirst with this amazing, juicy, refreshing fragrance. I think there's also some citrus floral notes in this, of course, because I feel like it enhances the citrus effect in the fragrance. But again, it's become a favorite of mine, and I love the way the citruses smell. Super awesome. It does also have a little bit of a laundry-like effect. I think it does, but not as much as Aqua Universalis Forte. Smells of like linens, laundered linens, and I think it's the overdose of musks in there. Almost like when you're taking out your laundered linens out of the dryer and there's that like kind of like electric kind of a heat smell. For me, Aqua Universalis does that. Aqua Universalis Forte does that, where I don't get that from here. But again, this is not as dry as Aqua Universalis Forte. It's super, super juicy. So that's Petit Matin. Check that out. Really, really great scent. Love that one. This is one of my first Maison Francis Kurkdjian fragrances. This is OUD Silk Mood Extrait. Do they still have a eau de parfum version of this? Because I believe when the OUDs first came out, it was OUD. I can't remember if it was OUD Extrait. It was OUD Silk Mood, OUD Cashmere Mood, OUD Velvet Mood. OUD Satin Mood came out after those. Confusing what happens in the release dates. I wish brands would document that on their websites, but I don't think they do that because people might think, oh, that came out 10 years ago and it smells kind of tired. We want to move to something new. I don't think they would do that, because some of these fragrances don't smell kind of tired, as in like generation wise or the year it was released. But I just wish I had like, okay, well, Aqua Universalis came out in 2010, Forte came out in 2013, OUD Silk Mood came out in 2011, OUD came out in 2010, OUD Velvet Mood, Cashmere Mood, kind of those kind of things, but they don't do those kind of things. I wish they did, though. OUD Silk Mood is one of the finest examples of oud and rose together. It's the same oud that's in the extract of oud, because it is super luxurious. It's also a lot of cypriol, and I know that the notes listing for this does list it. There's also a lot of rose. It's a jammy rose. It's super deep, but even though that rose is super jammy, I think the actual fragrance is on the drier side. But I would say this is a very decadent, intense oud rose. I also think that there's patchouli in here. I can totally pick it up, and it works wonderfully together with the oud, or the oud accord, the rose together. Super awesome, very long lasting, very intense. And it was at a time when I really enjoyed the oud rose combo of fragrances. And I think I'm kind of circling back to it. And this is one of the best out there, along with something like Black Oud from Montal, maybe Oud Rose Gold Oud from Terenzi. I'm forgetting the way that one is, but it's awesome. Very luxurious. I think this is the ultimate in luxury when you smell it. It's so deep and rich, and that creamy effect is present here in the extract. Yeah, so I think that they had launched the extract first. I think they came out with an EDP version of it. I don't know if it still exists, or maybe they launched the EDP version. I can't 100% say, but I believe these all came in extract when they first launched, because my Velvet Mood and Cashmere Mood are extract, and I don't think they ever had an EDP, so they kind of launched together. Who is a fan of the current version of the OUD Velvet Mood compared to the previous? And if you like it, let me know why. And if you don't like it, let me know why. I'm looking forward to getting my nose on it. I was in London in April, and I sampled it at Harrods. They had a huge display downstairs, and it wasn't anything special for me. All right, so that's Oud Silk Mood, one of the best Oud Rose combos from the house of MFK. This is still my original bottle, by the way. Love that fragrance. So up next at number 4, it's Gentle Fluidity Silver. I decided to leave off Gentle Fluidity Gold. I just felt like it was somewhere around 10 to 12, and this is a top 10 list. But it's interesting how when I first did my video off of samples back in 2019, when the first fragrances launched, I was favoring the gold. Now I'm favoring the silver. For some reason, this bothered my nose when I first got my nose on it. It was so sharp and metallic. Now I've grown to appreciate this and really enjoy its like metallic, sharp, glassy kind of ice coldness. It's a lot of aromatics. It's almost like a gin tonic, super cold. And I think for me, it loses its sharpness once it mixes up with a body, and it becomes softer, and of course not as cold because the body is warm. But it's a very sexy smell. I don't know why it is, but it comes off super duper sexy, especially once it's mixed with your own body, connects with your own chemistry and whatever is going on with your body. So, and maybe you've perspired a little bit and the thing is projecting off of you. That's when it smells the best, I think. It's also, like I said, it's not as sharp when that happens, but it's got great projection, wonderful projection, super loud. It's super loud and big in projection and sillage. I wouldn't say it's a super thick fragrance. It's just the way it's constructed that it projects so intensely. And I think one of the reasons why a lot of people like it. It's also a crowd pleaser. It smells great coming off of your body, projecting off of your body. So people tend to like it, compliment, and things like that. It doesn't overwhelm with the smell. It's simplistic enough, but sharp enough, metallic enough, ice cold enough to really satisfy when you need something super ice cold in the heat. But it's funny. Well, it bothered me when I first smelled it. It really, my nose couldn't tolerate the sharpness of that fragrance. Just couldn't tolerate it. And the same thing with Baccarat Rouge 540. It wasn't the sharpness. It was very synthetic at the time. Like, it bothered me. It smelled industrial. And yeah, now I love the smell, but we're talking about if there was no Baccarat Rouge 540. So those of you guys that don't like Ambroxan, do you think it'll ever change? Because it changed for me. I hated it, now I love it. So will that happen to you guys? Let me know, add a comment below. And also let me know if it did happen and you've switched over and now you appreciate Ambroxan, because that tends to happen. But let's move on to OUD Satin Mood next in the EDP version. This came out, I think this is the 5th OUD. Is it the 5th? Yeah, this is the 5th overall OUD from the house, and I think it's become the most popular. I can see why. It's a kind of a vanillic take on OUD. It's softer, it's sweeter, and it's not rough. It doesn't have that kind of rough oudy effect. This has got rose, vanillic notes, it's ambery, plus it has something that gives me makeup vibe. The violet in this gives me a major makeup vibe, like women's makeup. I don't know why, but it smells like just makeup-y kind of a take on fragrance. But the rose is strong, the violet is strong, the oud is nicely blended. There's that roughness. There might be a little bit of cypriol here, but it's not super strong like OUD Silk Mood or the OUD Extract. But it's cozier. This is a lot softer, embraceable, huggable, and warmer, because the vanilla adds that layer of depth and warmth to the fragrance. And I think to this day, it's become a very popular oud fragrance from the house. And I do appreciate it. I still think Cashmere Mood is better. I absolutely love that. But this is quite good. Really, really enjoyable and intense also. I haven't experienced the extract. I don't know it. I don't have it. But the OUD Satin Mood and EDP, it's good. It's super long lasting, intense. And you know, I can also say this, it's an OUD for OUD hater because it's not super OUD forward to me. Not like Silk Mood, not like OUD Extract, Cashmere Mood. It's softer. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's OUD here, but it doesn't stand out as much, is what I'm trying to say. I think the rose and the vanilla and the violet do stand out. And it's also super powdery. So it's like makeup powder, rosy makeup powder. So that's OUD Satin Mood. Let me know if you're a fan or do you prefer the extract version. So number 2 is Grand Soir. Yep, Absolue Pour Le Soir became Grand Soir, and Absolue Pour Le Soir became a boutique exclusive around this time. You can only find it at the boutique. And for a while at Neiman's, it was like they weren't putting it out, but they were selling it. And then all of a sudden, like in 2020, it got discontinued and it's brought back now. But Grand Soir, I think, is a great amber. It's a very easy to wear amber. Super warm, super resinous and balsamic, very spicy, vanillic. And again, it's like a major big hug. It's just so cozy. For me, if somebody's wearing this, I could give them a hug to smell it because that's how good it smells. For me also, there's a little bit of a cocoa effect, like a dusting of cocoa or chocolate on all the ambery resinous notes that are in here. One of the best from the house. And I think Absolue Pour Le Soir is very polarizing and daring. This to me is not so much. It's like appreciated by a lot of people that smell it. So I think what the brand wanted was sales and money. It was also around this time, I think LVMH was talking to the brand probably to have them join LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet and Hennessy conglomerate. So I think they probably did that so that they can boost up their sales and eventually have that deal happen with LVMH. So Grand Soir, it's a good one. Really, really good one. I love it. And of course I have to put this here. This is Absolue Pour Le Soir. It is back. It's an exclusive, but it's back. So you can get it. And Absolue Pour Le Soir became Grand Soir. But this is musky, animalic, sweaty, spicy, rosy, honeyed amber. But it's just amazing. Super awesome. You really can pick up like waxy honeyed effect happening here with the ambery touches. There's the cuminy thing happening in here quite prominently. And then of course there's rose. There's also rose, but it's fantastic. Ever since this, I got my nose on this for the first time, probably around 2013, 2014, I was obsessed with it. It's just amazing. It's an amber that has these daring sides to it, these kind of musky sides to it that a lot of fragrances do not have these days. And sometimes you crave these kind of things because you're familiar with fragrances that smelled like this long ago and nothing is being made like this anymore. And all you're smelling is the same things over and over again. And then all of a sudden this comes along and you're like, whoa, that is good. This is what I remember fragrances being like back then. So yeah, again, Absolue Pour Le Soir is a online exclusive and I think you can go to their boutique and get it. I'm not sure if Neiman's has it. I don't think so, but totally worth hunting down. It's one of my favorites. Again, this is a list if Baccarat Rouge 540 didn't exist. This is Maison Francis Kurkdjian fragrances. And we've got some more modern fragrances here and some of the classics that I feel like are worth it. If you want to skip BR 540, go straight to some other fragrances from the house, or you're tired of BR 540 and you don't want to even experience it because you've already smelled it from 10,000 other fragrances, these are the fragrances I would look for from the brand. I think you've got citruses, ouds, and your general fragrances from the house, and totally worth it. If I was to do a top 20, the list would be different, but I decided to do a top 10, and this is what I would go for. But let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. As I said, make your own top 10s. If you don't want to do a top 10, you can do a top 5, even a top 3. Your top 3 favorite MFK fragrances if you left out BR 540, so on with top 5 and top 10. But thanks so much for watching today's video. I think I'm going to do a series of these videos from different brands. So stay tuned for more of different brands. And basically what I'm going to do is cross out the most popular fragrance from the house and highlight what else is out there. But if there's a certain brand you want to see it with, let me know, add a comment as well. But thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, list below. Please interact with the video, like it, share it, add your comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click that bell icon as well so you'll be notified for future videos. See you guys later, bye-bye.